Welcome to another episode from EduExcel. This is your host Nirmala Thakur. This series is in continuation of the state versus private participation in the field of education. According to Lala Lajpat Rai, general education should be provided by the state and must be the first collection from state revenue. All efforts done by private funds and private institutions are useless. Private efforts are only for the purpose to fill the gap left by state education. A common national system must be provided by the state itself. Second, it is the only duty that has to be performed by the state is to make provisions for elementary education only. It is recognized all over the world that the duty of the state is not to end with elementary education, but the state has to provide technical and industrial education, and higher education is equally important for intelligent and efficient leadership. Role of private agencies. The role of the private agencies was to supplement the state endeavor in the field of education, though it did not absolve the state of its paramount duty of securing for its citizens total literacy. As Lajpat Rai observed, the cooperation of the private agencies, individual and corporations, is welcomed, but that does not relieve the government of its responsibility and duty. The facilities provided by private agencies only supplement what is being done by the various state and city governments in the performance of their government duty. But this did not mean that private agencies could be made solely responsible for spread of education and child care, nor that their role could be dispensed with completely. In fact, pending pending the development of full national government, private efforts would have to do a great deal of what the government did not do. In short, private efforts were necessary to supplement the efforts of government and also supply the particular needs of particular classes with a view to bringing up every class in the nation to the level of general efficiency. In 1908, in his address to the Indian Social Conference, a wing of the Indian National Congress, Lajpat Rai referred to social efficiency as the key to national prosperity, which could be achieved only by universal education. He regretted that the state had gone back upon this responsibility. This had prompted some religious reform movements to come forward with educational programs. The prominent among them were the Brahmo Samaj, Theosophical Society, Ramakrishna Paramahansa Mission, the Arya Samaj, the Sanatan Dharma, and the Aligarh movement. They differed among themselves on the conception of national education, but they were unanimously absolute necessity of educating both the classes and the masses for national efficiency. While appreciating the efforts that these organizations made, he at the same time cautioned that in the name of national efficiency, a close watch or vigil was needed to be kept so that they might not get narrower than what they had already been or be used in the interest of individuals or the purposes other than national. Due to the sheer magnitude of the project, Lajpat Rai was convinced that the provision of universal and free compulsory education could only be made by the government and was beyond the capacity of private efforts. At best, private efforts might touch the fringe of the problem as huge investments were needed for the fulfillment of the mission of total literacy and vocational education, especially when it was to be without any prospect for profit. But it would also not be correct policy to take over all the private educational institutions by the state. The task could be facilitated by resorting to division of labor. The, the private schools and colleges should concentrate on classics and humanities, and state institutions on scientific and technical education. The researches had to be carried out in the state funded technical colleges and laboratories. In order to meet the needs of the industries and defense, such collaboration could prove most cost effective. vis-a-vis economic resources, ensuring the best possible outcome. In other words, the private effort should supplement the government efforts with no intent to supplant it or do what the government's duty to do. But in order to raise free, democratic, egalitarian society, the education by and large had to be the concern of the state. As we conclude today's discussion on the roles of the center and state in shaping education in India, it's clear that both levels of government share critical responsibilities in ensuring access, equality, and equity, while the states primarily manage the implementation of education policies and school administration. The center provides national frameworks, funding, and oversight to promote standardization and inclusivity. Their collaboration, along with local governance, is key to transforming India's education landscape, meeting new challenges, and fulfilling the promise of quality education for every child. Thank you for joining us in unpacking this vital topic. Stay informed, stay engaged, and together let's support the future of education in India. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe the channel.